Commerce City Council meeting of October 17th. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor Ford.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bullock.
Here.
Councilmember Amador.
Present.
Councilmember Teeter.
Here.
Councilmember Carson.
Present.
Councilmember Diaz.
Here.
Councilmember McEldowney.
Here.
Councilmember Elliott.
Present.
Councilmember Douglas.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, and please let everybody know, or for the record, we are all here tonight. First item of business, I'd like to ask everybody to please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now I'd like to ask the audience to introduce themselves. Young lady will be passing around the microphone for you.
Betty Thomas.
Danny Thomas.
Thank you.
Hi, Alicia Burnett.
Shelley Powell.
Kevin Vitzel, Fire Chief, South Adams.
Clint Nichols, Deputy Chief, Commerce City PD.
Armando Guardiola, Finance.
Cheryl Karstens, Finance.
Carolyn Keith, Parks, Recreation, and Golf.
Tim Moore, Recreation.
Garrett Luckin, Staff Assistant for Congressman Perlmutter.
All right, thank you, and thank you all for being here. First item on the agenda is proclamations and recognitions. We have the CPRA 2016 Fellow Award. For staff, I don't have a proclamation in front of me. I don't know if I'm supposed to. All right. So what I would do is ask the city attorney to please read the proclamation.
Mayor Ford, there isn't actually a proclamation. It's just an opportunity
Just a recognition?
to recognize Mr. Moore.
All right. Well, then I'd ask Carolyn Keith, who's here in place of Chad. Right?
Yes.
Great, Carolyn. You have the floor.
Is it? Thank you. Honorable Mayor and members of City Council, it's my pleasure to present to you, those present tonight, as well as the Commerce City community, the recipient of the Colorado Parks and Recreation 2016 Fellow Award. The Fellow Award is the highest award bestowed upon a Colorado Park and Recreation Association member. Fellow Award nominees must have worked a minimum of 8 years full-time service in a leadership capacity, with a minimum of 5 years full-time service in Colorado. Additionally, the nominees must excel in the following skill sets: leadership, strategic thinking and planning, partner coalition building, innovation, and service. Tim Moore has served the Commerce City community for 40 years. He started his career in Parks and Recreation in a part-time capacity in 1976, working as a coach and umpire. His entire full-time career has been with Commerce City Parks, Recreation, and Golf, primarily within the athletics program area. He is currently serving as the Recreation Supervisor for Athletics. Through his role, he oversees adult sports, youth sports, Pioneer Park operations, gymnastics, and dance programs. Throughout his career, Tim has demonstrated tremendous leadership. As an employee of Commerce City Parks, Recreation, and Golf, Tim's leadership goes back to the 1980s when he participated in the process of designing and constructing the Commerce City Recreation Center, completed in 1987. He played a key role in the design and construction of Pioneer Park, which is an incredible community park that was built in phases beginning in 2002. Tim's leadership and commitment to youth and adult athletics in Commerce City community resulted in a field being named in his honor at Pioneer Park. Tim is an extremely innovative individual, and this is most evident when he is involved in special events. No matter what program area is hosting an event, youth, teens, seniors, Tim is always willing to help out. And his expertise is in designing and creating the scene for the event. For example, Tim was the person that engineered turning this room, council chambers, into the lifelike cruise ship for our senior recognition dinner in 2011. He has also created a castle for the daddy-daughter dance, and I know there's a number of you that have had that experience, a log cabin for our hometown holidays, and various haunted house elements for Creepy Hollows, and much, much more. Above and beyond Tim's leadership within Commerce City is his involvement with CARA, the Colorado Association of Recreational Athletics. Tim has served as the chair-elect for CARA, the CARA chair, the CARA representative for the executive board, the founder and chair of the Nuggets Skills Challenge, and he organized the CARA 40th anniversary celebration, which included a reunion of past chairs. Tim is truly viewed as a leader by his colleagues and community members in Commerce City, as well as those involved in CARA and beyond. He was recognized in 2011 as the CARA Professional of the Year and received the prestigious CARA Legacy Award in 2015. It is an honor to present tonight to you, Timothy A. Moore, the 2016 recipient of the CPRA Fellow Award.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all. Last year when I came and I won the CARA Legacy Award, I should have had a speech prepared, so tonight I do. First of all, when they told me, or they called out my name at the conference, I'm like, wow, this is a huge honor for me. I was so excited that night, but I think I was more excited for Commerce City. I think that for having this award come back to our community meant more to me than me winning the award myself. I've had a great career here. A couple things that I just found out too, prior to me winning this award, in 1957, a gentleman by the name of Clarence Schaefer, School District 14 Recreation Center, won the award. Rick, do you know Clarence? Unfortunately, I do not. I was 4 years old at the time. But I thought, wow, that was just a good history lesson for me. And then in 1977, Joe Riddle, who was the recreation director of School District 14 Rec Department, won the award. I do remember Joe. I was in high school working part-time for the Parks and Recreation Department, and Joe was a good inspiration. He was definitely a true professional in Parks and Recreation. And now, here we are, 2016, 39 years later, the award comes back to Commerce City. And I have to admit, to me, it's pretty darn cool that my name is now on that list. I'm just excited about that. Me and my wife, we just, all weekend long, we had huge smiles on our face. When I was looking over the list of all the past winners, there was one other name on the list, someone that I truly admire, someone that I deeply respect, someone that inspires me daily. That someone is our very own director, Carolyn Keith. Carolyn won the Fellow Award back in 2006 when she was a member of the Foothills Recreation District. Carolyn, I'm honored to share this award with you, and I thank you for all you've done for me and for our community here in Commerce City. Carolyn has done a lot for our community, and I definitely appreciate all she does do. I would also like to thank and share this award with all of the Parks and Recreation Department staff, because without them, I don't have a career. I haven't had, and I don't see myself winning the CPR Fellow Award if I don't have this staff behind me. We've done a lot of fun events, a lot of special events that really come back, and I remember, Mr. Amador, we did the Carrot Track and Field State meets. Another great example, I would have been lost that day if Mr. Andrew Amador and his brother wouldn't have been there to help me out with that event. A huge event, 1,500 people came to that event that day. We did that twice, back-to-back years. So I've just been surrounded by a lot of great people. I would like to give a special thanks to Karen O'Donnell and Chad Redding for presenting me the award at the CPRA conference in Grand Junction. It meant a lot to me to have staff present me the award. Finally, when I look back on my career, I see that I am truly a blessed person, not for winning this award, but for all the great people that I am surrounded by here in Commerce City. To me, that is my reward. I thank you, Commerce City. I thank CPRA. Thank you.
Thanks. Hang out there for a second. I'd first like to say, Tim, you're very deserving. You've been a staple in the community for many, many years, and you did a lot more than just help build these structures and put together some events. I remember the 4 on the 4th and a lot of things that you played a large part in helping to make sure that it ran well. And I remember those days back when we didn't have a rec center, and I was, just graduating high school, and we were having to go up to what is now the alternative high school on Monaco Street to have any recreation at all. And you were a part of the building blocks to help get us to where we are today. And with the plans for a new rec center, 3 new parks just opening up north, the whole 2K process that we went through to help make sure that this community has funding to take care of the needs that you have been so helpful in guiding this community to make sure we have. The ball fields at Pioneer Park and the type of events that take place over there, that the average person doesn't understand the concept when we have the firecracker, 4th of July firecracker, softball clubs, and all the different people metro-wide in this region that utilize these facilities, and the role that you play. You don't get to get that credit often. And I know your speech was very humble, and you gave everybody else a lot of credit, but I think it's really important that tonight and this next couple of weeks and stuff that you reflect on the good that you've done. Everybody else has done good. Carolyn has been a great leader in the community, and everybody else has done good things in our community. But today, let's focus on Tim Moore and what he did for our community. So I thank you for all of the years of service that you have given this community. And I know with the facilities and the opportunities that are before this community today, that this is not the last one of these awards that we're going to be seeing.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to go to my counsel, Mr. Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Tim. I can remember you from when I first started working at the rec center teaching classes. I can remember us, just like the mayor said, 4 on the 4th, Creepy Hollows. It wasn't any fun unless we could actually scare somebody so bad that, okay, we'll leave it at that. But we did put together a great haunted house. But I can't say we. My part was just scaring people. Your part started 2 days earlier in putting it together. You have done so much for this community, and basically, without repeating everything the mayor said, I just want to thank you for everything you've done. And he's right. This isn't the last award that we're going to receive, and it's not the last one that you're going to receive. Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Douglas.
you. Thank you.
Yes, Tim. Congratulations on accepting this award. I had a chance to talk with you when did that skateboard and bike demo back in July, and we had a great conversation about your history here in Commerce City, and you've done very well, and you are deserving of this award. So I just want to let you know behind you 100%, and appreciate you being here and giving back, because being a public servant here to our community is a really big deal. And so I appreciate you coming every day to work and putting your best effort forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Teeter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Tim. I'm very passionate about sports, Little League sports, adult sports. I've dealt with you for a long time. Nothing greater when you take a team to Cara and come back with that first place trophy, and you know that the organization of Commerce City put that all together with these youth, and the adult sports also. I played that for many years, and you keep the people in Commerce City involved. You keep the kids off the street, and you keep the adults. You give them something to do also, whether it's playing volleyball or basketball or softball. It's great that we keep these people in Commerce City busy with sports, and I thank you very much, Tim, for your time and what you've done for the city.
Thank you.
Mr. McEldowney.
Mr. Moore, thank you. I think the mayor's words about you taking time to really reflect on this from your own perspective is wise words. Obviously, the humble nature of your comments is very telling about how you approach this job and the role that you play in our community. And most of us only see a sliver of that role that you play, but it's clear that you touch so many lives in this community. I know the daddy-daughter dance experiences that I and my daughter have had have been fantastic, and I would just say thank you for spending your career here with us. It's fantastic to see you recognized in this way, and I look forward to your ongoing contribution in this community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Amador.
Thank you, Tim Moore. Thank you, Tim Moore. And thank you, Tim Moore. I cannot think of Commerce City Parks and Recreation without thinking of Tim Moore. My first job out of high school was as a sophomore in the Commerce City Parks and Recreation swimming pool as a lifeguard. And good Lord, this guy does not age. I mean, he looks the same as when I was in high school. So, yes, there were some good memories to have the Cara Youth Track State meet in Commerce City, competing with the South Suburbans of the world and of Colorado. And the third year, I actually get a kick out of this, and I still have to remind people that the town of Brush took that state meet on, and they were an hour and a half behind schedule on the first two events. And so the Commerce City kids took control again, and we got that thing up and running and off the ground. But you are truly a staple in this community, and you've touched many lives, both adults and youth, from the beginning of the Cara programs that you were involved in. So just thank you again.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Carson.
Tim, congratulations. And thank you. Thank you for everything you've done, all the contributions that you have made to this community and the lives that you have touched. I know I've said it before that the Parks and Rec Department touched just about every single life in this community at one time or another. But as you can sit up here and listen to the stories, you have played a role in a lot of lives here. So thank you very much, and thanks for bringing that award home to us.
Thank you.
Councilman Diaz.
Tim, I'm going to echo what Andrew said of, good God, you've never aged. As you were sitting there telling the story of you were 4 years old back in 1957, I started doing the math, and I'm like, how is he older than my mother-in-law? Things to not be repeated. But anyways, no, honestly, thanks for all that you've done. As Councilman McEldowney pointed out, the daddy-daughter dances, I still remember back in 2011, the Love Boat senior event. That one definitely kind of stands out. Also, my kids play rec ball. They do lacrosse, and it's such a great program, and I know that you're very well regarded. I actually remember back in 2011 when I was still on the Cultural Council, and we had our very first meeting to talk about the summer concert series. And you and I had met then, and we talked about planning and which park the first summer concert series was going to be in now that it's back. True professional. It was just amazing. You a very personable individual, and I really enjoyed that encounter. It was one of those where I felt like I knew you forever from the moment that you and I talked. And then like a week or two later, I went to Pioneer Park, and I saw your name on there. I'm like, oh, man, that guy's a legend. And so, honestly, congratulations. It's obviously very well-deserved, and thanks for all that you do. You truly are a legend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilwoman Elliott.
Thank you, Mayor. Tim Moore, I just want to say, you're truly an icon in this city. And growing up and participating in several programs over the years, and my son just recently playing baseball with the rec league, you're definitely an icon, obviously, because you have your name on one of the fields, so that's definite there. But I just want to say you're truly deserving of this and all the things that you've accomplished for our city. So I just want to thank you again. On behalf of my colleagues, I can echo each and everything that they say, but from my perspective, from my heart, I just want to thank you for everything that you've provided for our residents.
All right. Well, very well deserved, Tim. I'd like to ask the council to come down and take a picture with you in front of the podium. But great job.
Thank you all. Let me just leave it by saying, again, the people I am surrounded by, and that is all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Teeter, can you tip this for just a little bit? Thank you. Okay, I think we're good. Everybody ready? Okay, can we get another one, please? All right.
All right. Next item on the agenda is citizen communication. Tonight I have personally asked a couple of people in our community to be here to talk a little bit about an event that took place on Friday. Shelley Powell and Alicia Burnett with Suncor, they're here. And then Kevin Vinsel, the chief of South Adams Fire Department's here. And I think it's just important after everything I saw on Facebook, everything that's going on, just to make sure that, and I know all the debriefs haven't been done and everything else. I think it was important for me to invite you all to be here to talk about the incident, what took place, what you have in place for safety measures, how everything played out, and then on the chief's side, the emergency response, the EMS side of it, for protocol and making sure that everybody was safe, because I've seen everything from zombie apocalypse to everybody's going to have cancer, and I think it's better if I get the right people in the room, and I know there's some residents at home that are watching, and I think it's just important to be proactive in my position about safety within our community and within our businesses, and Suncor being our largest employer of, well, not employer, but our largest industrial business within our community, and the fire department because they're the lead on these type of incidents, just to make sure that our citizens have the opportunity to see this meeting or to look it up and know that we take this stuff serious. You as a business take it serious, and the fire department from safety takes it serious, so that we can make sure that our residents know that we're looking after their best interest and the safety of them and their children. So first I'd like to ask the Suncor representatives to come on up and just introduce yourselves and give us the pieces that you have available to give us about what took place and how the process that you have.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor Ford and Council, for the opportunity to be here tonight. The Commerce City community is very important to us, so we certainly do appreciate the opportunity to give you an update on the events that followed a power interruption that we had last Friday. So approximately noon last Friday, our third-party power provider experienced an equipment malfunction on their side, which led to a power interruption into the refinery. When that type of power interruption occurs, we have automatic safety mechanisms that are immediately triggered within the refinery, which moves to shut down the facility and move it to a safe and stable state. So following that interruption, that's immediately what started to occur, and that was our focus immediately kind of following the events. Our own emergency response personnel responded to the event. We also had tremendous support from a number of local first responders. I'd like to acknowledge ADCOM, the Commerce City Police Department, the South Adams County Fire District, Colorado State Patrol, and the Denver Fire Department. All of these agencies mobilized. We are very thankful of the support that they provided through the entire event. Also, following this event, we provided immediate notification to all of the required regulatory agencies. This also includes the Colorado Department of Public Health and the Environment, and we also mobilized our own community air monitoring. So this air monitoring was in place throughout the course of the entire event. It's also been in place through the entire weekend and is also in place this weekend, or this week rather, and will be in place until the refinery is fully up and operational and back to our normal kind of operating mode. Through all of that air quality monitoring, no hazardous emissions were detected at all at the various locations that we were at in Commerce City, as well as into certain areas of Denver as well. On Friday, once we established that the refinery had been safely shut down and was in a stable condition, we began our restart activities. This includes inspecting a number of key critical pieces of equipment, making sure that nothing was damaged and that we were ready to restart. This would be very similar to the restart activities that we went through last April following our maintenance turnaround at the facility. During restarts, it's not unusual to see visible flaring activity. This is a normal part of restarting the facility. As we move forward, we will stay in close contact with the city and with the community. I also want to recognize the communications office at the facility, or at the city rather. They were very helpful in making sure that we could get information out to community members in a very timely manner with some accurate information. So we're very thankful and appreciative of that support. We certainly never intend for these types of incidents to occur. We are staying in very close contact with our third-party power provider as they do their own investigation to understand the equipment failure. And we have also initiated our own internal review of our response, always looking for ways that we can improve when these type of unexpected events happen, and we'll be looking to kind of drive improvement from that front as well. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Well, thank you very much. You know, the big thing for me and for this council is to make sure that our residents understand what happened and know that you have protocols in place and safety mechanisms in place to deal with the volatility of what you have at that refinery. You know, many of us were here back when Conoco had it back in '76 when we had an issue. And we know we don't want our community to go through that again, but I think over those learning experiences, the safety pieces are in place, and I just want to ensure our public that you guys have safety procedures that are being followed, and then next we'll hear from the chief. So thank you both very much for coming in tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Teeter, did you have a question for Shelley?
Yes, well, I want to thank you, Shelley, for coming for this report tonight. I know what the background of the refinery is over there and how it works, and I'd like to give your people a congratulations at this time. The power outage, of course, was not their fault, but to bring that plant down and to start it back up without an incident shows the professional people you have at that refinery. That is the hardest part, bringing it down while everything's hot, and then getting it started back up. So thank your people also.
Thank you.
I agree. Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to call up Chief Venzel to give us a little of his perspective and what is in place from a protocol standpoint to ensure the safety of this community from the fire department's perspective. Thanks for being here, by the way.
And thank you. Thanks for the invite. I think it's it's a good practice to inform the public. You know, with these events like this, we respond well after, even days after, on various calls. We did get a zombie call, so it does happen. You know, we do respond to things like that because people panic. But we have specific protocols set up with the refineries, not only the refineries, but for various other industrial chemical plants around our city. And the standard protocol that we have, we activate our hazardous materials team that's also in correlation with all the metro area surrounding departments. Denver happened to be the one to the south, and you know we kind of correlate on what we call mutual to automatic aid responses on this type of incident. I can't say that the refinery is, or I can say the refinery is very, very good to work with. They're very informative, and we have responded to issues like this before. And I'm surprised it did get so much publicity because it's kind of, from the fire department standpoint, you know, not a normal thing. But when we did see these calls come in, we have well-trained, educated firefighters and hazmat technicians that know exactly what to do. So our protocol on something like this, whether it be from the refineries or any company for that matter that has any type of chemical release, we first and foremost decide what type of chemical that is being released and whether or not we evacuate or shelter in place, and that's all done through our active 911 system. With the refineries incident on Friday, we knew just by the color of smoke and what was going on, and be familiar, how familiarized we are with the refinery, we knew pretty much on just responding there on what immediate actions to take. Hazmat incidents are something that we take very seriously, but we're very cautious on when we approach these because there's a lot of tasteless, odorless gases out there that can be harmful. So what we do is we set up a perimeter and a response plan, and we evacuate to necessary means. With this type of release and the refinery getting no active alarms, if you will, on their monitoring, we went ahead to just do shelter in place so we can until the issue is mitigated. Unfortunately, when you have a release like that, it's with a plume, not much you can do other than our first protocol is to take care of the citizens, and not only just within the city, but wherever that plume may be going. So we're in contact with National Weather, ADCOM, which is our dispatch, Commerce City Police Department, you name it, and we have, we're going, if that cloud or plume, if you will, is moving north, we go all the way up into other states if we have to, to inform the process of what we do on a release like that. So in this day and age, there's a lot of technical support that we have. We have a lot of monitoring equipment. We have a lot of training in these issues, whether it be from the refinery or any chemical company. To the incident Friday, we determined that with the air monitoring that went on between our monitoring, Suncor's monitoring, that there was not an immediate life safety and health hazard to the community or anywhere that plume was headed. Again, it is a, if you will, unfamiliar cloud plume in the air, but with the chemical makeup of what was coming out of that stack is an emergency protocol that the refinery does. And when we get called, of course, we make sure that the citizens from anywhere in their household, on the highways, in the schools, are dealt with, immediately, so we can go ahead and keep them safe.
Great. Well, we appreciate your diligent, prompt response to anything that happens in our community. And I could tell you, I think South Adams Fire is as good as it's ever been and growing. Where you've really turned it into a great department. It was already great. You just made it better.
Thanks.
And I know that you're getting a lot of national accolades for the department and response times and what you guys do over there. So it's just important, like I said to Suncor, to make sure that our residents have the opportunity to hear from you and them on the fact that they're safe in this community, that you guys know what you're doing, and safety protocol is set up both at the refinery and with the EEOC here within the community. And you guys head up the EEOC on issues like this. So I just really wanted to thank you. Thanks for giving a synopsis of what happened and how you guys handle it. Just helps me to better ensure the community that they have the right people working for them in this community.
Absolutely. And again, I'd like to reiterate, we have specialized hazardous material equipment, and it's not just departments today just don't work alone, even though when we say South Adams, we say Denver, Thornton. Right. In the fire department world, just like the police agencies, we all work together on, whatever type of incident it is. And, I mean, it is very, very beneficial when you can have other departments in, and even the Adams Jeffco hazmat team to Denver to mitigate these issues, and we handle them. We try to handle them as safe and efficient as possible. One thing with hazardous materials, you never know, what you're getting into until you're there. But you take your time, you make sure you get it right, and the citizens and the people always come first. So,
well, we appreciate that. Thanks for what you do, Kevin.
Okay.
Any comments for Kevin before I let him go?
Yep.
Mr. Teeter.
Thank you, Chief, for your presentation tonight. I agree 100% this fire department can handle it. Now, to change the subject a little bit here, I think this would be a good time for you to toot your horn a little bit on this ISO inspection that you just went through. I think the people of Commerce City deserve to hear this information, and I'm sure you'll be putting it out in a publication down the road here on the fire side, but I think this would be a good time for you to elaborate on that.
Absolutely. So we decided, we haven't had an ISO inspection in quite a while, and Commerce City, South Adams, or the citizens in Commerce City were what they call an ISO class of 5 to 10, 5 and 10. So the areas that do not have hydrants, basically, or a certain distance from firehouses are an automatic 10. But the major of 95%, or probably maybe a little more, of the city was classified as a 5, almost a 6. And when I became chief and got an organizational structure going, our first and foremost thing was to get that ISO rating down. And I'm pleased we found out just this morning that we got confirmation we will be an ISO level 2, which is in the top 10th percentile fire departments in the United States. Awesome. So we're pretty happy. And we can't release anything publicly by mail or anything until we get, it's kind of like the ISO inspector said, it's kind of like your taxes. You fill out your taxes, you don't see your refund for 3 months. So about 3 months is when the ISO gets the official word out. But they said that it will save taxpayers literally millions combined on dropping that ISO to a level 2. So we're very, very proud. For a department from the ISO consultant said to me that with our staff, he's never seen a department go from almost a 6 to a level 2 in his 30-year career. So we're pretty proud. So,
congratulations to
you. Thank you. So we'll be sending. We're going to go ahead and send out publications through mail and in Commerce City Connect to let anybody in the residents to get a hold of their insurance company just dropping. So,
well, thank your firemen and your board for us as well.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks. Thanks, Rick.
Oh, Councilwoman Carson. Sorry, I didn't see you.
Thank you. Thanks to all who have achieved that number. That is a great number.
Yeah.
And, really, you guys do need to toot your own horn because the public needs to know that when you ask, and they support you and give you what you say you need, that you will come through. And you guys did come through. This is better than I think anybody could ever expect, so congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we were very pleased.
Oh, we're proud to be partners with you. Thanks, Kevin.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, next I'm going to call up Garrett, who signed up. Mr. Perlmutter's office.
Yes, sir.
Good
Thank
evening.
you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the City Council, for all the work you guys do for the citizens of Commerce City. Just wanted to flag a few events our office will be hosting some in the coming months. First is our Senior Resource Fair. That's going to be on Tuesday, November 15th. It'll be at the Wheat Ridge Rec Center. A couple examples of some of the organizations will be there. Centura Health Links will be there. Delta Dental of Colorado. Some officials from the Social Security Office will be there. Meals on Wheels. I think there's probably close to another 15 different organizations that have agreed to come. We're also hosting our district office open house, so if any constituents want to come see where we work, where we're at, that's going to be on Saturday, December 3rd. And then lastly, interviews for military academy nominations will be conducted on Saturday, October 29th, and we have 4 kids from Commerce City who will be interviewing that day.
That's great.
Great. Thank you very much for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes the list of people who signed up to speak during citizen communication. I know some folks came in after the list was brought up. Is anybody here didn't get a chance to speak that wants to come up? Come on up, Harvest. State your name and record for me. Your name and address for the record for me, please.
My name is Harvest Thomas. I live at 7110 East 60th Way, Commerce City, Colorado. I'm here, Mayor and Council, to give you an update on Adams 14 School Board. I got some flyers for you, if that's okay.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, go ahead and bring them on up and we'll pass them around.
Tomorrow, October the 18th, the BOE, Adams 14, will be interviewing 3 candidates to fulfill a seat, this vacancy right now, at 6 o'clock. Also, the flyer that you are receiving now is what we started with the new superintendent, Dr. Abrego. It's called Superintendent Parent Forum. We already had one. This is the second one, but it's 2 in 1 day. The date is Thursday, October the 20th, 2016, and you see the times. One is at 9:30 to 11:30, and the same day, 6:15 to 8:15 at night. Everybody is welcome. Council, mayor, city, anybody is welcome. Also, I want to give you an update of, we had a wonderful Spirit Week leading up to Adams High School homecoming a couple of weeks ago. I would like to thank Councilman Amador for pulling floats, Mayor Ford for walking into the parade, and y'all support council who help with the logistics of everything, so I really appreciate that. The homecoming parade was the largest parade in recent history. Like I said, a new superintendent has multiple community research events. He liked with stakeholders, and better yet, what we're trying to do with Adams 14 is get more involved with the community. We want to have everybody involved, not just down on 60th Avenue on the other end, but everybody building that bridge, so we can, because it's about our students. It's all our students. It's not just Adams 14 or 27J or DPL. It's all our students. So we want the best for all our students, and we do need y'all support and help with that. Another thing I want to bring to your attention is when the street got repaid on Magnolia from 60th to 58th and going south back towards Rose Hill, they didn't put the speed bumps back on between 60 and 58. Now, Newport between 60 and 58 never had speed bumps. But the school sits in front of Oneida, and I had the opportunity to stand on Jeffrey and Crystal Zabel's porch at 5840, and there's no speed bumps there, no signs, and that's directly in front of the school if you're going south towards Rose Hill. And cars not slowing down, and you got the kids, and I think it's a safety hazard where somebody from the city can come out and look at it, even for yourself if you want to see. But I think it's and then they put the 2 speed bumps back between 59th and 60th. But if you look at Oneida, that is a very, I think, not for myself, but for the students and the staff, that those no lights, no speed bumps, no signs up in that area, saying that that's the school district. That's all I have. Any questions?
Let me respond to you a little bit. First of all, thank you. It was nice to have the student council come in and invite us to be a part of Spirit Week and the parade and everything that took place. And as you know, there are several of us up here that graduated from Adams City High School,
Yes.
all the way from Rick Teeter down to Crystal. Me and Andrew were there too. I guess it's Rick Teeter to Andrew. Me and Crystal are in between. So we're very, very supportive of Adams 14 because that's where we went to school, and we want our community to have a good education. We want to be there to support 27J and 14. So we're there when you need us, and we want to see the school get better and better, so that we can ensure good education in our community. It's tough to grow a community without having those tools, positive education. Now I want to get to your speed hump issue. Oneida used to have speed humps, is that correct?
No, Oneida never had none.
Never had any?
No, sir.
Magnolia. Did Magnolia
Yes,
have? They did, yeah. So
yes.
the street that you're concerned about in front of Rose Hill did have speed humps.
No, Magnolia is not in front of.
Which one is in front?
Oneida.
That's what I
Oneida
thought.
is in front of.
And it never had speed humps?
No, sir.
Okay, so there is a process that we have, and I'm sure that Roger or someone, Maria from Public Works, someone will get a hold of you. We'll make sure that you give them a contact so they can get directly a hold of you. Start the process.
Okay.
I remember when speed humps went on some of those roads, Olive in particular, where it goes up that hill.
Right.
So in between 56th and 60th, because of speeding coming down and people's houses were getting run into, there was some issues.
Right.
I remember when those speed humps went into play, but it took a long time to get a plan on how we perform traffic counts, speed counts, things of that nature that determine whether or not speed humps are a solution or a way to prevent those problems. But there is that process, and we want to get that started for you. So we'll make sure that either Roger or our Public Works Director, Maria, someone gets back in touch with you. So if you would leave a contact there with you got it? All right, perfect. Roger will just walk back with you and get it.
Okay.
But we'll make sure you get in that process and see if we can help to slow down the traffic in that area.
Thank you,
And
Mayor.
thank you for the heads up.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Is there a couple of people had wanted to talk? Councilwoman Carson? No? Mr. Teeter?
Thank you, Harvest, for coming for this update tonight. I just got one short question. Is this interview tomorrow night, is open forum, or is it just closed doors?
No, it's open forum for everybody.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Harvest.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else that came to speak that didn't get a chance to sign up? Seeing no one else, we'll move on in our agenda. All right. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We have the August 15th, 2016 minutes. I'm open for a motion to allow an abstention for voting on the minutes of August 15th for myself. Mr. Bullock.
Move to allow the mayor to abstain from voting on the minutes of August 15th.
Thank you. Mr. McEldowney.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to allow for that abstention. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Now I'm open for a motion to approve the minutes of August 15th, 2016. Mr. McEldowney.
Move to approve the minutes of August 15th.
Mr. Teeter.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move the minutes of August 15th, 2016. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Now we move into the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes items that are routine, procedural, informational, self-explanatory, and non-controversial. They are presented to council for a single motion and vote. Any member of council may ask to remove a specific item for further discussion and a separate vote. Tonight there are 9 items listed under the consent agenda. Does anyone on council wish to remove an item off of the consent agenda for further discussion? No? Seeing none, I'm open for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Mr. McEldowney.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Amador.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Will the city attorney please read the titles of the consent agenda?
Thank you, Mayor Ford. Ordinance Z 93416, an ordinance rezoning from Adams County A3 to Commerce City Public, the property described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof, located north of East 112th Avenue, south of the Burlington Northern and Santa Fe Railroad right-of-way, west of the O'Brien Canal, and east of Highway 2, PIN 1723060000013 and 1723062000001, Commerce City, Colorado, and amending the zoning map of the city of Commerce City, Colorado to reflect said rezoning. Ordinance AN 23716, an ordinance approving and accomplishing the annexation of contiguous unincorporated territory described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof, located north of East 112th Avenue, west of the O'Brien Canal, south of the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, and east of Highway 2, PIN 1723060000013, Commerce City, Colorado. Ordinance AN 23816, an ordinance approving and accomplishing the annexation of contiguous unincorporated territory described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof, located southeast of the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad and the Interstate 76 alignment, PIN 1723062000001, Commerce City, Colorado. Ordinance 2108, an ordinance amending Section 21-9210 of the Commerce City Land Development Code relating to public parks and recreation fees. Ordinance 2115, an ordinance amending the 2016 budget of the City of Commerce City, Colorado by the recognition of the Department of Justice JAG/burned grant funds in the amount of $18,766 for the purchase of tasers to be used by the police department personnel and authorization of the expenditure thereof. Resolution 2016-116, resolution approving Greater Outdoors Colorado Inspire grant agreement. Resolution 2016-117, resolution modifying the Parks, Recreation, and Golf Advisory Committee. Resolution 2016-120, resolution approving First Amendment terminating Tower Road Improvements Project Funding Agreement. Resolution 2016-124, resolution appointing members to designated boards and commissions of Commerce City.
All right, thank you. I have a motion and a second. Titles have all been read. I'll ask for a roll call vote. For the record, the consent agenda has been approved unanimously this evening. And we'll move into public hearings. We have Resolution 2015-36. I will open the public hearing and invite the Finance Director, Karstens, forward to make a presentation.
It's 39.
They got it wrong on here? Yep, you're right. 2015-39. Ms. Karstens, go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of council. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about the final information for the 2017 budget. As a reminder, we started the budget process in July with a variety of meetings presenting information to you at various council meetings and presented revenue information as well as the expenditure information that came to you from departments. We wrapped that information up on August 22nd with the council retreat, and all of that information is now incorporated in the information I'm going to be presenting tonight. This 2017 budget summary is for our general fund. We are estimating our general fund revenues to be $71.5 million. We anticipate a fund balance transfer of $304,000 for a total in revenues of $71.8 million. Under the financial uses, you will see the items under primary government. Those are for all of our individual departments. The largest of those being finance at 13.3. Within finance, there is a division for all of the city's benefits, as well as property casualty, work compensation insurance. Public safety at 15.6 is the largest, and then parks, recreation, and golf also at 11.4. The total primary government, all of those departments, is 57.3 million. We did incorporate the comments from the retreat into these numbers. Also at the retreat, I believe Armando or Mark identified that we would still be incorporating any salary and corresponding benefits increases for employees that were still eligible for their annual performance increases. So those numbers have been included as well. We do have a variety of transfers from the general fund to various funds. Commerce City Housing Authority at $60,000. The elected officials retirement fund for $44.1. The several various debt service. The first one listed is for the 2015 issuance at $2.9. The first tranche of 2K funds, debt service on that is $4.5 million. The 2016, which is the second tranche that was just issued, is $2.3. During the budget process, we identified that the money collected for the road and bridge tax was going to be directed to the CIP fund specifically for the pavement management program each year. That's $493,000. We did additional transfer of 1.3 for various projects to the CIP fund. The Tower Road T88 drainage was $500,000 identified from 2K funds. Each year we do $83,000 for the Derby Catalyst, which is the revitalization dollars set aside for the Derby district. And then we anticipate that after expenditures have been subtracted from 2K revenues, we would be adding 2.1 to 2K fund balance for a total transfer of $14.4 million. Therefore, our expenditures totaling the $71.8 to match the revenues listed above. As a reminder, when we presented the 2015 financial statement information, we showed you what the general fund reserves were. We have regular general fund balance of $9.4 million, 2K fund balance from a combination of 2014 and 2015 is just shy of $13 million. And then we have three reserves that we set aside, the operating reserve at 5.4, safeguard reserves at 9.6, and our Tabor 3% reserve, which is required at just over $2 million. So a total general fund balance of 39.5. I do want to point out that while these are the 2015 numbers, we have identified in 2016 the use of some of those general fund balance reserves. 1.2 was identified as part of the 2016 budget, and recently you have approved a couple of reappropriation ordinance to the tune of about another $1.8 million. So wanted to make sure that you were reminded of that. Once we wrap up the year end, finance will be coming back to inform you of what the reserves end up being at the end of 2016. So tonight we open the public hearing. That remains open until November 7th. I want to make sure everybody knows that there is a draft of the 2017 budget on file in the city clerk's office, as well as a draft is on the city's website for anybody to review. Once the budget has been adopted on November 7th, we will replace that draft with the final on the city website. We will have books printed, and those will be distributed to our normal distribution list. After November 7th, once that is done, we will certify the mill levy to the county. The deadline for making sure that we do that is December 15th. So before I close, I'd also like to recognize the work of my staff. Armando, Mark, and Jacqueline put in a large amount of hours to make sure this budget is presented and ready for you, so I just want to acknowledge them. It's an honor to work with such great professionals, so I wanted to make sure they got the recognition that they deserved. At this time, I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Does council have any questions of Cheryl at this time? Mr. McEldowney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Carsons and your team, rather than a question, just a comment, a compliment rather. Just hats off for the efforts this year and really the progression of effort we've seen over the last couple of years in particular, where it's clear that you guys are putting in extra attention to detail. I think the depth and the level of effort that's going into the preparation is clear, and obviously that's a result of the questions that we've been asking over the years. But I think the especially with the efforts tied into integrating the 2K efforts and making sure that it's crystal clear how those 2K funds are coming in, some of the efforts to really cause us to rethink how we approach capital improvement. I just wanted to not miss the opportunity to say thank you. I don't know that it's all that clear when we go through this high-level information to the community how much is really happening sort of behind the scenes, and so my thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'd too like to say thank you to you and your whole team. I know that you work on this a large part of the year, and we always end up having awards for being diligent about how it's done. And you can't do that by yourself or without a good team. So thanks to you and your team for getting this before us and having it prepared the way it's supposed to be prepared and the transparency in place. And we'll look forward to seeing the books when they come out.
Thank you.
All right. I now need to ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and address the council on their budget for 2016. 17, sorry. Seeing no one, does council have any desire to discuss the budget any further? Seeing no one, I'm open for a motion to continue the public hearing to November 7th, 2016. Mr. McEldowney?
So moved.
Mr. Amador?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to continue the public hearing to November 7th, 2016. Will the city attorney please read the title?
There's an error in the script. There would be no need to.
I didn't
read the
think
title.
so.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, no problem. You knew. We'll get there. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. All right, next item on the agenda is ordinances on first reading. We have ordinance 2111. I'd like to ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak on the matter. Seeing no one. All right, I'm open for a motion to introduce ordinance 2111 by City Council. Mr. McEldowney.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to introduce ordinance 2111 on first reading. Council is seated.
Thank you. Mr. Teeter.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Will the city attorney please read the title?
Ordinance 2111, an ordinance authorizing the leasing of certain city property and the execution and delivery by the city of a site lease, a lease purchase agreement, an escrow agreement, and other financing documents in connection therewith, setting forth parameters and restrictions with respect to the financing, authorizing the refunding of certain certificates of participation, ratifying action previously taken concerning the reference transactions, and providing other matters relating thereto.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I get the second on that?
The second was
I
Mr.
missed
Teeter.
Teeter, thank you.
I have a motion and a second. The title's been read. I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Andrew.
Andrew. For the record, ordinance 2111 has been introduced unanimously by the City Council this evening. All right, moving on in the agenda, we move to administrative council business. Is there any administrative council business this evening?
We have a presentation.
Yeah, I got the presentation. I'll come to you guys in just a second. Anything outside of the presentation? Mr. Amador?
So I brought up in the past over at, I believe it's 59th and right by CLA and Highway 2. Apparently there's the mobile home that's still sitting there on blocks with no skirt around it or anything. And as I drove by this weekend, in that very same vicinity, just literally to the north, it looked like they're putting up I don't even know what it is, like a barn type shed thing, and it actually has like cardboard for the roof. And so it really is an eyesore, and I'm just hesitant that these kinds of things, as you drive down Highway 2, are a blight to our city. So if we could just, take a look at that. And then also, there has been multiple, and I'm going to call them campers at this point, hanging out in the parking lot of Walmart, where between Chipotle and Carl's Jr., and those campers seem to be migrating more to the south to Stewart and Stevenson's parking lot over the weekends. And so if we could just kind of take a look at that as well, because as I drive by, I see them all the time. They're not there all the time, but on the weekends it seems like, oh yeah, we can go ahead and do this. So just if we could have someone take a look at that, that would be great. Thank you.
All right. Any other administrative council business? And I'm going to go to Mr. Douglas and Mr. Bullock on the. Oh, you have a administrative council? All right, go ahead, Mr. Douglas.
Yeah, I've been doing the detour on 96 to Buckley to 88th, and there's certain areas, of course, they patch up because they're really bad, but there's some areas that are really rough, and we need to take care of that because it's going to be closed down for another 2.5 months. There's going to be some issues with cars. People are trying to dodge those craters and different situations in the road as best as possible. Some even the fact of coming off the road a little bit on the driver's side of the wheels to avoid some of those areas. And if we can take care of that, it'd be great, because I hate to have to repair anybody, replace any tires. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Now I'm going to turn it over to Steve and Renee to give a presentation on the trip they took.
There's just some pictures to start out with of our trip. And the topic of our
It's up there right next to the one you
our
were
leadership summit was building multi-sectors, engaging with the public, and collaborating with great governance and leadership. So this is just a few pictures here just to kind of present to you folks from our leadership here at Madison. Oh, I got it. Okay. As you come in to Madison, Wisconsin, it's surrounded by two huge lakes. Minona is on one side. I'm not sure what the other lake is here, the name of it. I can't remember the lake. We have a lot of residents in Commerce City from Madison, Wisconsin. I was really surprised. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's the capital of Madison right there in the middle, and our hotel was just a block away from there. This is just as we touch down here. This is one of the city buildings here, all glass, pretty interesting, just east of the Capitol. And I tend to partake in what the public goes through as far as public transportation. I engage with Renee to take a walk with me. It's about a 4-mile walk, maybe 5. I kind of exaggerate on the distance so I don't scare anybody who's with me to know that I am walking quite a ways away from where our hotel is. We walked into just check out one of the grocery stores there, and they actually had a bar up top that had a wine you can dispense by the glass or half a glass, which was really interesting. but this is City of Madison. Here's Renee. The weather was kind of cool.
Okay, let's talk about, he said 1.2 miles our walk was going to be. Little did I know we were walking around 4 miles to where we were going, and then 4 miles altogether. Probably about 10 after in the cold.
Here's Renee here, daunting his hat for his head. In several areas around the Capitol, this is the Children's Museum and some artwork outside here I thought was pretty interesting. I took a lot more than what you see here, probably about 500 pictures, but there's only a few here.
Bless you.
This right here is across the street from the Children's Museum. Just there underneath that terrace is a place where kids can come and learn how to do pod gardening. And then inside behind that wall there is a mushroom growing facility. These are the pods that the mushrooms grow out of. And the kids go down and plant, and it produces the mushrooms.
Okay, he said pod, P-O-D. He did not say pot. Okay, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. They don't teach your kids how to grow pot. Okay.
Pods, P-O-D, sorry, not pot. Here at Rotary, they have their little signature out here, service above self, and this is a marquee for the Rotary Club in Madison. On my little walking around the Capitol there, I decided to see what it's like. They have food trailers that are out there 7 days a week during business hours, and they're up on the sidewalk, so they're, of course, you walk up to them. And here's just a few food trailers that people come to set up for the day. Interesting setup. And then they had a farmer's market. It wasn't just one weekend. It was pretty much the whole summer when harvest started. The harvest season start. They're out there until the end of October. And this is one of the Dane County buildings in the county, and some of the street signs they have for a one-way. And upon my walking, some historical buildings. I was going to walk down to the lake, and it was just get down there. It was too busy because there's a highway there, and I wasn't going to take the risk of going across that road without going to a public intersection. It's also the home of University of Wisconsin, and took the bus and looking at some of the features around there. Along the walkways in Madison, instead of bringing electricity in, they use LED solar panel lights. That solar powers the lights for the evening there, and there's quite a few of them on the walkway. Here I'm on the bus. And you get down to an area here. This is I guess this would be their urban renewal development in Madison, and this is what the results are going to be next summer. And there are certain days where it's rain as well. This was our first event, meeting Rebecca, and everyone received the books from Renee. She's the author of this Regeneration Manifesto for America's Next Leaders, and she talks about she's a futurist and just where our country has gone in last 4 winters. This is a inside of a library that was repurposed, and they added a third addition on the top level. It used to be the roof, and this is the inside of the library. That is pretty unique as far as the aesthetics they use inside to cover up the ceiling. On this wall here is book and shelves holders. They made a display with the different colors on the wall. Outside is their living roof and it rains a lot in Madison, and it's well drained. I can see something like this on our recreation center, and they did have some solar as well. This is one of the statues outside. And this is an all-purpose room here used for different events for the community. And this was a really good size. I know our 300 room, our building capacity is going to be a lot bigger than this, but this just kind of gives an idea of what they had here, a repurposed room on top of the existing library. This is looking out to the east. And this mural here, when they wanted to save the building and add this section and build it out, they also replaced a bunch of windows. This artwork here was done, I can't think of the artist, but they had to preserve it by covering this up, because if there was any disturbance to the wall, it would ruin that whole mural on the wall. And go ahead, Renee.
If everybody would look at the window in the distance, the museum was built originally in 1965, and all the windows were about 4 inches slits like this for light. And when they remodeled the library, they closed it down for 2 years and did a complete renovation of it. And they enlarged all the windows so they could use more natural light instead of electricity and regular light. And when we went through the museum and they showed us the before and after and everything, it was just amazing how they had refinished this place and made it so much newer that you would have thought they built a new building. With what it cost, you would have thought they built a new building also. But they really did a lot to make it a more livable space. And I don't know, I know he has pictures of downstairs where the children's rooms are, but it's really something to see.
And they have these movable walls. There's a track here, and that object to your right, that kind of artsy looking wall, it actually slides on a track, so that when the art is closed, the library is closed, that they can still use the other areas of the building without having people go through it. So it's a maze to get downstairs to a workable space, but at night this is also repurposed to a multi-use structure. So this is looking from the area that Renee was talking about, from upstairs, downstairs to the basement where the kids' area is for the library. And this is looking up from downstairs, from the top, from the bottom up. These are some pods that were hand built from a craftsman in the area, and pretty cool looking clouds for lights in the children area. Ask Renee to take a picture of me in there.
Where's Renee? He should have been in that little
He
one.
asked Renee to get in there too, but Renee would not do that.
He said that would be too creepy. This is a bubbler section. They bring kids from all ages down here to interact, teach them how to cook, and they thought it was pretty cool.
Stop on this
Okay.
picture. Now, if you look behind the gentleman there, you see on the wall, it is called open space. And open space is a unique way to have a meeting where everybody at the meeting can choose a topic, put it in one of the pods, what time it's going to be, where the table is going to be, and you have your own table for your own meeting. So it just gives you a lot more flexibility in meetings, where if you want to talk about urban renewal, or you want to talk about safety, or you want to talk about the school system, you say, okay, the school system's going to be in pod 2 at 3 o'clock at table B. And you just set it up, and then when they come, you have an open space book like this. You list who's everybody that attended, what you talked about, and everything that was it. And it showed us a really unique way to have meetings within meetings. And we did this, and you would not believe, there were people who wanted to talk about marijuana. There were people who wanted to talk about racial divide. There were people, we had about 8 tables, and the only thing we weren't allowed to talk about was election. And so you would not believe, and if you were in one group and you decided, okay, I want to go over and go, you could just move from group to group except for the leader. The person that called the group together had to stay there. So it's a really interesting way to have meetings or budget discussions where if you're having a whole budget discussion and some people want to talk about 2K and some people want to talk about what the police department's doing, you can section off into different mini meetings within a meeting, and then at the end you come back, everybody at their table, the one that led gets up and talk about what was discussed and how everything was done, and you get a lot more done in a little bit of time. Okay, go ahead, Steve.
And then this open space was really neat because we got to talk about community standards, law enforcement, body cameras, and we enacted our body cameras here. Talked a little bit about how that has rolled out in Commerce City. And then throughout the nation, we had folks from the East Coast and the West Coast talk about their police department and how they have officers who were not non-sworn-in officers to serve the community. And I know we have some here as well. And just how the community has really taken on and to get them to understand how that works within the community, to have someone with the law enforcement knowledge, but not have the ability to walk around with a firearm. And that was pretty big, especially living in the community and serving the community. Those folks know very well who's who in the community. And some areas has played very well, especially in New York. I thought that was very interesting, and also in Washington, Virginia. Other issues were homelessness issues. Mental health was a big issue, and we saw a lot of issues out in what come to mental health out in Madison. We did witness a segregated area of homelessness right in the city, not too far from the hotel we were at. And these people gather, no matter what time of the day, they're out in the open. It was hard. It was hard to miss them, and I really felt sorry for those folks there. We also talked about race and where equity matters, and just putting everything in perspective. But we also really talked about the 5 powers: the power of imagination, the power of voice, the power of a commitment, the power of change, the power of teamwork. And I think, I'm the type that I really, and we all play a different role here in Commerce City, being on city council, and we all lead different, and we all do things that so far I haven't seen anybody that I've served on council yet has been burned out yet. Everyone's willing to commit, come to every meeting, and we all, when it comes to leadership, everybody learns in a different way. And for me, this really keeps my brain fresh, and it really puts things in perspective. Because I say the hardest thing about serving is actually getting that knowledge and then applying that. So I really appreciate the opportunity of going out there. It makes me who I am today, and not just from coming there, but I also have a very balanced council, and I appreciate everything that everybody brings to the table, because when it comes to collaboration and working together, that's a big deal, and I learned so much here. Also, they have over 800 nonprofits that Madison works with within the public, and that is huge for a population of that Madison has. That they have 800 nonprofits that they work with, and I believe on their council we have 9. I think they have 20 on their council. They have quite a bit.
No, they had 9, but they had so many sub.
Well, it's the ultimate. They have 20. I thought it was 9 too. They have a lot.
Do you want to tell them about Arizona and the marijuana commercials that they were showing?
Oh, when we talked about law enforcement and our medical marijuana and recreational marijuana, there's a video out in Arizona that's been put out to the people about what has happened here in Colorado, and basically how the marijuana works against it. Go ahead and explain that, because as far as what Denver decided to give up and not go forward with.
They have a commercial there in Arizona. Arizona has a vote up in November to legalize medical marijuana. And they put this commercial out where all this money was supposed to go back to the cities for schools, and the biggest school district in the state didn't get any money, which they were saying Denver. And it's a total, it's wrong, because Denver gave up their money because they're doing this bond. And so there was $43 million to be spread throughout the whole state from the marijuana money. And and 170 plus school districts. So some of the school districts just said, we will give it to the districts that need it more than us. And Denver was one of those districts. So it wasn't like they didn't get any money. They gave, but to listen to the commercial, and they showed us the commercial because they had it, and it was just a total falsehood. You know, it's like when you see it, you're thinking, well, this didn't happen here in Colorado, but the people of Arizona don't know that, you know. And then they had another one where they say all the edibles look like candy, so the little kids don't know what they're getting. And then I think they actually made up some boxes, a Kit Kat, and it was it looked just like the regular Kit Kat box, but it was edible marijuana, and they said nobody can tell the difference. But you can see that they had somebody that put these together. So they're using scare tactics to break up this vote. And Steve and I were saying, you know, as far as medical marijuana goes, with the different strains that they're improving now, if they could get a strain of marijuana that could mimic the EpiPen, they could put some of the pharmaceutical companies out of business. And I think some of the pharmaceutical companies are the ones that are fighting a lot of this. But that's an editorial, so I should stop. Go ahead, Steve.
And so there was a couple other exercises that we went through, and each time that we met, we had to sit at a different table. We had to interact with people, different people, so it's not always the same group we always sat with. So there's a couple exercises me and Renee want to bring forward when we have our winter retreat. We won't say what it is because I don't want anybody Googling and looking it up to cheat. So we're going to bring that forward when we have our winter retreat. It's a pretty fun exercise.
It was. And it's very hard.
The other thing, too, like Rapid City, South Dakota, here we enacted the 2K with the 1% sales tax, which so far things are going great. But in 1972, back in Rapid City, they had a big, huge, major, they had a 100-year flood. It really devastated the city of Rapid City. And so in 1992, they asked for a 0.5% sales tax, and they actually put that in a fund, which 20-year fund produced like $85 million. So with that, they were able to build several different projects from parks to new rec centers. They don't have a boys and girls club. They have a boys club and a girls club. Civic Center, a brand new Civic Center, $25 million. But it's just interesting what they went through and what they decided to do back in 1992 for 2012 vision is pretty much, not pretty much, close to what we did for the 2K, so for us producing revenue. But we're doing ours in a shorter time period than what Rapid City does. So I thought that was interesting to compare what they went through as far as bringing Rapid City back.
Plus, they re-vote on it at different intervals to see if the sales tax stays intact. And they've done so many projects with this sales tax money that every time the vote comes up, the citizens vote overwhelmingly to keep it because it has been so profitable for the city and it's revitalized Rapid City. If you could have seen the before and after pictures and all the different projects they've done, I would actually say $500 million worth of projects with this money that they've been able to leverage and make more money from it. I just know our 2K is going to be so successful because you can see that once this starts going and people see what it does, the momentum keeps it going. So,
and then we also have people who are from Flint, Michigan, and then towns around Flint, Michigan. They also showed what the water looks in Flint, Michigan, and just a block over what that water looks. It's a huge difference. I mean, one is dark, of course, and one is clear. But within, it's just like being right across the street from our Civic Center. So, they're going through some changes right now, and just to hear what they're going through, and knowing that we're not nowhere near where Flint, Michigan is, and we do have our talks about our water, which is good. We sort of having setbacks, so but just to hear what they're going through, it's a really nightmare. It's a nightmare. Also, want to show you a video that was really powerful. That you guys listen and watch this.
I am part of a lost generation, and I refuse to believe that I can change the world. I realize this may be a shock, but happiness comes from within is a lie, and money will make me happy. So, in 30 years, I will tell my children they are not the most important thing in my life. My employer will know that I have my priorities straight because work is more important than family. I tell you this. Once upon a time, families stayed together, but this will not be true in my era. This is a quick fix society. Experts tell me 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. I do not concede that I will live in a country of my own making. In the future, environmental destruction will be the norm. No longer can it be said that my peers and I care about this earth. It will be evident that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It is foolish to presume that there is hope. And all of this will come true unless we choose to reverse it. There is hope. It is foolish to presume that my generation is apathetic and lethargic. It will be evident that my peers and I care about this earth. No longer can it be said that environmental destruction will be the norm. In the future, I will live in a country of my own making. I do not concede that 30 years from now, I will be celebrating the 10th anniversary of my divorce. Experts tell me this is a quick fix society, but this will not be true in my era. Families stayed together once upon a time. I tell you this, family is more important than work. I have my priorities straight because my employer will know that they are not the most important thing in my life. So, in 30 years I will tell my children, money will make me happy is a lie, and happiness comes from within. I realize this may be a shock, but I can change the world, and I refuse to believe that I am part of a lost generation.
And that just goes to show you how you look at a story is how it is told. So you can either look at it from the top down or from the bottom up.
Hello. My name is
And you
Rebecca
can
Ryan,
make
and
your
many of
own
you know me as the
decisions
consultant
and your
who
own
helped
story.
your team
And I
with
don't
the
know
Quality
who
of
that
Life
lady is
Council write
talking.
the good.
Okay. Anything else, Steve?
No, I just want to tell the council I appreciate you authorizing me to go to this leadership. Is very, the information, very informational leadership summit. I mean, basically, it really helps you become a better leader and understand how things work. And we also meet with other folks throughout the country, and we go over policy. And I know there's quite a few cities that were asking about our policy on our marijuana laws, and so it would be helpful if we could share that. And I was going to ask, when we go places like this and we have policies that say folks are having a hard time with in other cities, and they want an insight, what's the proper way to help a city out so they're not struggling, and that we have passed policy that works when it comes to sharing? How can we do that?
Well, you can simply refer them to any one of us. We certainly use as examples the good work of other communities that have already wrestled with and solved some of the challenges that we face. Sort of an informal saying we have in the public sector, plagiarism is the greatest form of flattery. We tend to borrow from other cities and adapt those solutions to our own. So we're always happy to help. You can refer those folks to any one of us. We'd be happy to help.
Okay, I appreciate that. And for citizens out there, if you'd like to talk to either I or Renee about our trip, you can reach out to us. Our information is on the city website. Thanks.
I would also like to thank everybody for being able to go to this summit, and I would love to invite more council members. Next year it's in San Diego, and you would not believe the information and the quality of people that you meet at this summit, these summits, and what you come back with, because you actually come back renewed. And Andrew was just telling me that he started reading this book and he couldn't put it down, so he read it in a sitting. So I guarantee you, once you start reading it, it's going to get you, because as you start looking at the different winter, spring, summer, and falls, and how they correspond to our lifetimes, you will see things that there's nothing impossible that we can't do. But again, thank you for sending us to the summit. And if you do have any questions, please reach out to Steve and I.
And I know Andrew asked about the video. I can send everybody a link to that video. And also I can, if you want a PDF copy of the book, I can send you that as well, just so it stays with us and not out to the public. But it was presented to us, and we like to pass that information on. There's other information, too, as well as the different notes that were taken within the different open spaces of all the different subjects, and other things as well. So if you guys would like that information, I'd be more than happy to share it with you.
Great. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Great report, and that's what I think is expected of from the community when we do spend tax dollars to try to help better the positions that we hold. So very, very good report, and glad that you guys were able to get what you needed out of it. Any other administrative council business before I move on?
Mr. Mayor, I would just ask the name of the book, Regeneration, by
Rebecca Ryan.
Rebecca Ryan. Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you.
All right. Seeing no other administrative business, we'll move into reports. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Ford. We did distribute via email. It came from Michelle Halstead this evening. This week's edition of the City Manager Update Just two key updates. One was a bit of background information on the incident from Friday to supplement what you heard earlier this evening from Suncor and the fire department. We also have provided an update on plans for 2016 Winterfest, so you want to take a look at that as well. As always, please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor Ford. I have no report this evening.
Great, thank you. Well, started off a couple weeks ago, Rotary. Then myself, Paulo Diaz, and Krista Elliott all were here for Leadership Commerce City. We had Rotary again. We had the Quality Community Foundation wine tasting event out at Buffalo Run. I went on a tour with Kiewit, with Roger and some members of Kiewit to take a look at some of the stuff that's going on in our community. And then Saturday, we had the groundbreaking for the new recreation center, which went off very well. Thanks to staff for putting that together, and thanks to the council for all being there. And it's a big monumental piece for our community. So looking forward to watching that particular building develop. Wanted to mention that tomorrow night is a water quality community meeting that South Adams Water is going to be holding up at the Reunion Rec Center. I will not be able to attend, but I know Mr. McEldowney will be there to handle any type of city questions. But hopefully we get a report back from Mr. McEldowney on how that meeting goes. Now, I will be at the Water Commission meeting tomorrow afternoon, but I will not make the latter meeting. And then next Monday, I will not be here. I'm taking the evening off, and Renee will run the study session on the 24th. So thank you ahead of time for that. Is there anything anybody would like to add to my report? Mr. Douglas.
Yes, in the E470 meeting last week, we had our yearly workshop, and just this discussion where the E470 is going. And we just had the IBTTA. We were host for 2017 or 16, I should say. At that meeting, we also talked about there's an opportunity for they're offering this to the members first within E470 of water shares in stock in the Sandy Acres area, and that should have come out. I mean, we should have received it today. So I'll follow with them to make sure Brian and staff can get a copy of that. It's an offer for ditch share and water rights, and see if the city is interested in doing that. There's a certain percentage that has to go up if you're interested, but that's for us to. It's out there. It's in the public, and there's of course there's more to it. So once you get that information, just update us on if we want to proceed. But we have to talk about that and hold. This is not something I'm going to take back to say yes or no. But it's an offer that's going to be within the bodies of the board of the makeup E470, the voting body, not the non-voting members, which there are quite a few. It's just for the voting members within E470.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone else? Seeing none, if there be no further business to come before the City Council of Commerce City this evening, we are adjourned. Now, I know we have some GID meetings that are immediately following the City Council meeting. I have been asked to allow for a short break, give everybody a few minutes, and then be back in here by 8 o'clock. And we'll convene those GID meetings.